Hey YouTube, right here. Going ahead, making a video just about mods and what they actually do for the community. I mean, it's actually pretty awesome when game developers actually acknowledge the value of mods and the actual part that they play in gaming communities. The person who was in charge of making Skyrim actually came out and even said that mods keep a game alive well beyond. I actually kind of touched on that in a previous video, not as much as I would like to, but I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, and unless I'm going to sit there and start going through individual mods and individual mod packs and just showing how many hours they add to the gameplay, it really kind of falls flat, because it's one of those things that when you're in the thick of it you can observe it, but when you try to explain it, it either sounds like a no-brainer or it sounds like you're just trying to fluff a conversation. However, it's honestly amazing to me that game developers are starting to realize the value of mods and the value of modders. Like I said before, going ahead and taking a look at who's making these popular mods and the skill that goes into it, I'm surprised that there aren't more companies going out and trying to hire these people that are making these mods to actually come and work for them. Bring their fresh ideas to the table. Not to mention their skill set. But one thing that has me a little bugged about the whole idea of modding is now there are some mods that make games easier, there are some mods that make games harder, there are some that are just for aesthetic changes, just for the goofy, quirky fun of it. But you have certain modding groups that actually get a lot of flack, like the adult mods for games like Skyrim. I don't think there's any for Minecraft, at least none that I've come across. And I'm constantly looking for new mods and all that, so if they were out there, I'd probably come across them. But the thing is a lot of people look down on these adult mods and so on and so forth, and it's all like, there's a lot of skill and art that goes into that. Now, are some of them raunchy? Yeah, of course. They're adult mods. People aren't downloading them for any other reason. Let's just be completely honest. But there are some people that have gone ahead and downloaded a few adult mods, and they've actually justified it. Like with Skyrim, nudity mod. It makes sense, because the fact of the matter is nudity is a part of real life, and if you're looking for more of that realism, because the thing is just because you have a nudity mod doesn't mean that there's a sex mod in there. It just means that it now has nudity there. Same with the people that download stuff to get rid of the censor from Sims, when they're in the shower and all that. It doesn't mean that they're downloading a mod that does anything. And then I mean, sex is already censored anyway by the covers in a bed or whatever. There's nothing really too explicit there. So those people, I can, they at least have some claim to a level of, oh, well, I was just going for more realism on it. I didn't think it was a big deal. Not to mention, a lot of the people that I hear bitching about this come from cultures where nudity is highly frowned upon. You know, a lot of Western cultures, nudity is one of those things that's, no, you can't have that. But even if someone downloads a sex mod, I mean, honestly, who are you to sit there and start bitching at them for it? Start saying that they are the problem. They're not the problem. They're human. Now, I can see if, a preteen was to go ahead and download a sex mod, or, a teenager, someone who can't legally view that sort of material. Okay, I get it. But that doesn't mean that someone who's in their 20s or 30s downloading one of those mods for a game is a worthless pile of shit. Doesn't make them a pedophile. Doesn't do anything like that. I mean, hell, when I played World of Warcraft, for a while there, I played with a nudity mod. Just because it was funny. Because every once in a while, you'd have people dancing in their underwear. So, to me, they would be freaking naked. And it was hilarious. I mean, obviously, don't be playing with a mod on like that. If you got kids that can walk in and see it, whatever. But, I mean, if you're doing it for the fun of it, whatever. Why not? But when I started thinking about it, some gaming controversies in the past, I can see people, having gotten upset about Custer's Revenge back on the Atari. I can see that. I mean, at that point, it was a game about rape, and it was a horrible fucking ordeal. But then again, if you actually go ahead and look at the porn field, there's an entire fetish for it. And it's not something that is male specific. A lot of people like to say, oh, well, it's a male fantasy. No, actually, there's actually quite a few women who will have rape fantasies, or, whatever. They'll have those thoughts in the back of their head. Doesn't mean that they're going to act on it? No. Doesn't mean that they hope that it's actually going to happen? No. And I'm just being completely honest here. Whatever floats someone's boat, as long as it's not something absolutely horrendous, just leave them to their own. Don't go out looking for these people and try to, quote unquote, expose them by doxing them and, releasing their information out into the public, contacting their bosses, and so on and so forth. Honestly, I hate people that go ahead and try to contact someone's boss because they disagree with something that the person is saying. They try to get that person's livelihood taken away. That's absolutely ridiculous. And it's the same situation as when mods first were really starting to take root. Developers were trying to sue these people that were making mods, saying, well, they're hacking our game and that's illegal. Now, actually, it's not really illegal, at least not in the US, not in the UK, or anything like that. Especially if they're not making money off of it. If they're just designing the mod. Now, the thing is some people are like, well, they make money off their Patreon. Well, not all of these modders have a Patreon. Some of them do it just for the fun of it and because they enjoy modding. But even if they do have a Patreon, honestly, it's effort that they're putting in. I don't care that it's an addition to a pre-existing product. I mean, if you were going to go ahead and say that, then Microsoft could sue quite a few people. Because Microsoft could sue the shit out of Google. Microsoft could go ahead and sue these companies that sell control pads for Windows machines. Apple could sue quite a few people. There's a limit to, what is legal and illegal, and a lot of people just really don't seem to understand that. Now, if someone's, just going ahead and straight out, like taking DLC and making it free, that's not modding, that's pirating. There's a difference between modding and pirating. If someone goes ahead and makes their own add-on, and then a company goes ahead and tries to take that entire add-on and copy and paste it as their own work and sell it, well, then the person who made that initially can go ahead and sue that company. Yeah, the company may have the rights to the game, but that doesn't give them the right to publish someone else's work as their own. These modders aren't publishing the original game as their own. They're adding additional content, which they put in the effort to make. That's what protects them, is the fact that they aren't trying to pass off the original work as their own. They're only passing off their own. So even if someone outright charged for access to mods, well, for one, they probably wouldn't have too many downloads. The mod would fade into obscurity. But if they want to go ahead and have a Patreon, let them have it. They're doing their work. They're doing just as much work, if not more, than the programmers at an actual developer. Leave them the fuck alone. Let them design whatever the fuck they want. Let them express themselves in whatever way they want. And if people are downloading a mod, even if it's an adult mod, that's fine. That's obviously what people wanted. And like I said, as long as it's not having anything illegal, as long as it's not having, some pedophilic stuff or anything like that. But I mean, hell, even mods that allow for rape, in games like Skyrim. So, I think it's funny how, with the whole Game of Thrones thing, they were perfectly okay with, with it being this gritty, this is how it would be in a society like this view, until all of a sudden, one character that a lot of people from certain demographics liked ended up getting raped. Yet they were perfectly okay with male castration and so on and so forth, and shit that is just as damaging to an individual. They were perfectly fine until rape became a thing. And I'm not one of those people that defends rape. I absolutely hate rapists. I think that rapists, if they actually were violently raping someone, then yeah, they should probably be thrown in front of a firing squad, in my opinion. And I know that my opinion is harsh on that. But it's because rape is a multi-pronged problem. And I don't care if it's a man raping a woman raping a man, a woman raping a kid, a man raping a kid. It doesn't matter. They're all as much of a piece of shit in my book as the next. But when I bring up the whole pedophilic thing, I get people sitting there and saying, well, it's not a real person, so... And to a degree, I understand that. And in fact, I would love them to actually go ahead and do an actual scientifically based psychology study on, Lolicon and all of that. I'm not talking about, magazines that actually show real kids in sexual positions or anything like that. No. But I'm talking about, animated things. I want to see, because the thing is we've heard that same argument before that they use against it. And it makes me a little bit leery. They said that video games were murder simulators, and they made you more likely to commit murder, more likely to commit violent acts, more likely to rape. And then when studies were actually done with controls and, actually following the scientific process to the letter, the results didn't bear out that claim. The only studies that did bear out that claim were ones that either didn't have adequate controls, didn't have adequate group sizes, small group sizes taken out of a pool of already troubled individuals. You get the picture. They had their conclusion and they designed their study to match their conclusion. However, studies that were all like, is this true? And so they take that stance. They're all like, look, we don't know if this is true or not. We want to find out. Those studies all say the same thing. No. There is no correlation here. There is no cause and effect. So I have to question the whole Lolacon thing. I don't condone it. I still think it's gross as fuck. But the thing is I'm bringing this up and making this parallel because a lot of people are trying to say that older gamers are, just closet pedophiles or whatever. Same thing with anime watchers. And that's really insulting, especially with me being an older gamer and someone who likes anime. And those baseless claims are actually dangerous to someone like me, especially since I have a daughter. So yeah, that's a troubling thing to have said about you constantly with no evidence of it, and if anything, evidence to the contrary. I want to see them go ahead and actually do a neutral study on Lolacon. I want to see. Because with video games, they found that those games actually tended to reduce aggressive tendencies. I'm wondering if it's not the same for Lolacon. If it gets it out of their system type of thing. Because the thing is if you have something that's serving as kind of a pressure release, and then you take that pressure release away, what's going to happen? That pressure isn't gone. Those desires aren't gone. It's just now you have no other way of getting rid of that other than doing what the desire dictates. And that's a big problem. Something tells me that we've put a lot of kids in danger at that point. But that's a video for another day. But I'm bringing this up in a video about modding because I actually saw one where there was a mod that made it so you could have, teenagers as a traveling companion or even as your main character in the game. And so that was completely fine. But then people were sitting there and bitching on the forums saying, oh, well, people are just going to combine this with the nudity mods, and now you're just giving pedophiles exactly what they want. Fuck you. Oh my God. Are you fucking serious? That's honestly like sitting there and saying, oh, well, all gun manufacturers should be thrown in fucking jail just for being gun manufacturers because of the pure and simple fact that every once in a while a person with a gun commits a crime. It's not okay. Just because something can be used for nefarious purposes does not necessarily mean that it's going to be used for nefarious purposes. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the person who created the thing is guilty of the crimes of those people who actually use it for nefarious purposes. We need to stop that. Because the thing is if mods end up getting stifled, we're going to see gaming suddenly start to really drop out of popularity. And the thing is people sit there and say, oh, well, it's only one or two things, it's not a big deal. That's always how it starts. But we've seen what happens when you give that inch. Pretty soon the people that were bitching about the thing initially are now bitching about something else, saying, oh, well, it could be used for this. What about alternative armor mods? Oh, well, it could be used for over-sexualizing women. You gotta get rid of it. I mean, it's something that really needs to have an eye kept on it. And I know that this seems like a pretty random video, and it is. But I was just on, and I was going through some modding forums for Skyrim, because I've been playing Skyrim, and I want to try playing it with mods. I've never played it with mods before. I've only played the vanilla game, and that's absolutely fantastic. But I've been looking for mods for, alternative armors, extra story missions, even above and beyond what Bethesda made. And I've come across a few mods that were at least interesting, but then I saw all these negative comments on how it could be used poorly. Or be used to support something. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I can't even go to a modding forum and get away from this social political bullshit. Are you serious? How about you give it a fucking rest? How about if it has to do with gaming, stop trying to make it fucking political. Stop trying to push your agendas in gaming. Leave gaming the fuck alone. Gaming's already gone through hell and back. It's persevered through all of it. It's not going anywhere. No matter how much you worthless, miserable piles of shit want it to fucking go away. It doesn't matter. It's here to stay. Even if every AAA company was to suddenly go out of business tomorrow, there would still be indie developers. Even if governments pass laws making it illegal to play a video game, period, people will still do it. In fact, probably more will. People will find an outlet. It doesn't matter where they find that outlet. And if you take away that outlet, they'll just find a new one. Until you back them into a corner and the only outlet left is your fucking face. You're so quick to go ahead and say that the world is a miserable place. Stop taking away people's escapes. Leave the modders alone. Let them mod whatever the fuck they want as long as it's within the bounds of the law. Leave these AAA companies alone. Let them make what they want to make. Because if they stop making what people want, then the indie developers will, and they'll pick up the ball from there. It doesn't matter. It does not concern you. And a lot of the people that I see on here are very obviously not gamers. They're on there just trying to stir shit up. Some of them are trolls. Some of them are legitimately proclaiming that faux outrage. And it needs to stop. We need to put an end to it. We need to drive those people from these fucking forums. If they start arguing from a strictly political perspective, and I don't care if it's an alt-right thing, if it's a moderate right, if it's a centrist view, I don't care. If they try to bring up political shit in one of these forums, tell them to get the fuck out, that this is not a political space, that it's about gaming, so if they don't want to talk about the game as a game, then to go elsewhere. And forum moderators, you need to back that shit up. If someone starts bringing in this socio-political bullshit into the forums, one warning, gone. Do not let them turn even more of the gaming world toxic. Because I've noticed that as soon as politics gets involved in gaming, whatever section of gaming we're talking about suddenly becomes toxic beyond all belief. And then those same people who went in there and stirred the pot initially go, see, look at how violent all these people are after they stirred up the violence. After they're the ones who capsized the boat. Didn't shake the boat, didn't rock the boat, capsized it. They sit there, feed the trolls, and then fuck off to their little safe space where no one can get to them. And then just watch the world burn and then say, look, told you the world was flammable. After they're the ones who doused it in gasoline. When it comes to modding, download whatever mods you want. Don't let anyone sit there and try to dissuade you. Unless the mod's got some game-breaking bugs or something like that, obviously take a look at that. But if they're trying to sit there and say, oh, it's wrong for you to download this mod, tell them to go fuck themselves. Tell them to piss up their own nose. Download the mod and then fucking throw on a video on YouTube or Pornhub, depending on the mod, of you enjoying the fuck out of that mod with a picture of you at the end, flipping off the fucking camera with the name of that, with the username of that person on there with their bullshit comment, and tell them, yeah, I enjoyed the fuck out of it. Fuck you. That's the only way that you're gonna get this shit to stop. Is to show them that you don't give a fuck what they think. Because as long as they think anyone cares, they're gonna keep flapping their lips. So, yeah, I'm a little bit angry about it because the thing is I even saw that type of shit on completely benign mods and I'm so done with it. It seems like I can't go anywhere to try to escape anymore. And I'm tired of these people bringing only the negative aspects of reality to an area that I use to find my zen. And it's funny because the people that are doing this are all for safe spaces for themselves, but they don't want anyone else to have their own safe space. Again, hypocrisy. My safe space is gaming. Stay the fuck out.